Rainier Avenue Radio. And welcome to our live studio audience for another exciting edition of Did You Know? And here we go with round one. Did you know?
COVID vaccine is free and easy to get. You don't need insurance or an appointment to get your vaccine. Vaccines are available at many locations near you.
And now we're going to double the value. Did you know?
The COVID-19 vaccine is always free of cost. You can visit pharmacies, community health centers, and other health providers in your neighborhood.
And now for the lightning round. Did you know?
The Delta variant of COVID is a mutation that has health experts worried because it's twice as contagious.
Then for our finale. Did you know?
The best way to protect yourself from the COVID Delta variant is to get fully vaccinated. Get your vaccine today.
Find out more at kingcounty.gov/vaccine. Did you know?
Mga kaibigan, ito po si Kuya Bert Kawili.
And this is Miles Salvador from Australia.
And I'm Norb Kawili, also known as Norbcam.
Kung gusto niyo po ang latest news and events from the Philippines at yung local Filipino community, Phil-Am Radio po.
We play Filipino music and interview guests from all around the world.
And I'll keep you updated on the latest Seahawks and sports news.
Kaya always tune in, Phil-Am Radio every Tuesday, 1 to 2:30 p.m. Pacific Time on Rainier Avenue Radio App.
And in YouTube and Facebook. Salamat po.
Generational wealth. Generational wealth. Generational wealth. What is generational wealth? We asked our communities.
And this is what they had to say.
Generational wealth is incredibly difficult to accrue. My mom likes to joke that we come from a long line of people who are bad at money. She always talks about wanting to buy a house so that she has something to leave her kids. I got really sick when I was a kid, and all our money went towards that. I had to leave college because I couldn't afford my next year's tuition, medical bills, and life. It's all so difficult. And then you think about wanting to leave something behind for your kids. Well, how can you leave something behind for your kids when every day you're trying to make sure that your kids have joy and happiness and health and fulfillment today? Every day I'm really concerned about if I'll be able to keep living and making art in this city for myself.
This campaign to create awareness to generational wealth is brought to you by the Department of Neighborhood's Generational Wealth Initiative, the Washington Housing Finance Commission, and Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
You are listening to Rainier Avenue Radio,
your community radio station.
Ticketh talketh, it's 7 o'clocketh. What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to LidLine Sports right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. We got the birthday boy here today. That's O, not me. We got O in the house. And you got Pep. What's happening?
Appreciate that. Appreciate that, Prep.
Man, it's nice to see you fresh out of jail. Oh, wait a minute. Well, you had a low bail, right? So
Oh my.
You turned it up.
I had a very clean weekend this week.
You turned it up this weekend, brother?
Very clean weekend.
What?
I mean, I had a little bit of fun. But I think after watching my sons lose, I took the whole camp time all weekend.
Hey, the big three hasn't even played at all, have they? It's either Durant and Booker or Durant and Beal, and that's it. And you know what's going to happen. So when Booker come back, you know Durant's going out.
Man, Pep, it's frustrating, and there's positives to watching the Suns play. There's been negatives, but you're right. I mean, a lot of the negatives that have come with watching the Suns have been due to the fact that all three haven't been on the court. And now what has, I guess, been frustrating to me watching the Suns play is, so these last two games, the Lakers against OKC Thunder yesterday, and then early on when we played the Lakers, all those games, we went into those games with fourth quarter leads. Against the OKC Thunder on Sunday, they scored 13 points in the fourth quarter.
Ugh.
They whimpered and they let the Lakers back in on Friday in the fourth quarter. And my thing is, and I think Kevin Durant said it too, that's books time. The fourth quarter, and he, the games that he did play, that's what he did against the Golden State Warriors. He put on a show in the fourth quarter, and it's just hard for this team to consistently go offensively when your anchor, your guy, the guy who is your now primary ball handler, in my opinion, he is going to be our leading scorer as well because the ball is going to be in his hands so much.
Right.
He's just the engine, and it's been really frustrating to see. It's been harder to get other guys shots. Now they're loading up on KD. Brad Bill's still trying to find his way. So, I mean, and when I get into it, there's some few things, some teams and some players that aren't living up to the bill, and there's some teams and some players who are living up to the bill. And the Suns are definitely, a team who has been on the disappointing side to start this season, definitely. So
you think part of the problem is perhaps that trade that they made with the 3-team trade or whatever, with the Blazers and all that, Ayton going to Portland and so on and so forth. Do you think that some of that has hurt some of their chemistry and bench play? Or do you think that it's because injuries?
Well, yeah, I mean, we didn't lose anything off the bench in that trade. And then, I mean, in my opinion, what it looked like from the outside looking in, I don't think DeAndre Ayton was just going to fit moving forward with just everything that was going on there.
Yeah.
And to my surprise, Yusuf Nurkic has played actually really well for the Suns. He's shown signs of not being able to consistently be on the floor because of defensive reasons. But offensively, I think he's done a really good job getting other guys going, just rebounding and all that. So it's definitely injuries and just like you said, just getting all these guys onto the court at one time. We go as far as Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Brad Beal. That's what happens when you're top heavy now. That's the underlying part of it though.
Right.
You're seeing it with the Clippers now too, with the trade they made. They lost a lot of depth. And so when you have 2 or 3 out of the 4 main guys not playing well, you don't have enough offense. And that's what's been showing with the Phoenix Suns.
Got you. I got a question for you. Can you give me 3 or 4 teams that you're surprised by in this early part of the season, and then give me 3 or 4 teams that you're very disappointed in so far. I know it's early, but I just want to get a pulse of what you feel and how things are going right now.
Well, I mean, we can start at the top in the Eastern Conference. I mean, the Philadelphia Sixers are first in the East at 8-1, and this is who was going through the situation of James Harden asking for a trade. And, we already thought they didn't have enough without James Harden. So to see that they played so well even before trading James Harden, and a lot of that has to do with the sending now of Tyrese Maxey. Hopefully Philly does right and pays that man come this summer. And I know a lot of people are wondering, well, why didn't they give him the extension this offseason? So the reason why Philly did not is because they're going to have a lot of cap space come this summer. So if they would have paid him the extension, they would already took away from it. So now that they can go, they can sign other players and still bring him back.
Awesome.
Salary cap.
So that was smart. Yeah.
Yeah. So Philadelphia at number 1, and like I said, Tyrese Maxey is playing out of his mind. He's playing as an All-NBA player, and they look really good. And we just talked about depth. Now you add Robert Covington, Nicholas Batum, and all those 3-and-D players to play around and complement Embiid and Maxey. They look really good.
They sure do. And it looks like, getting that albatross from around their necks really have elevated everybody. Because, once Harden left, I've noticed the change in Tobias Harris
Yeah.
He's much more productive. And of course, before Kelly Oubre's incident Saturday, he had been playing very well. He's going to be out for a while, folks. If you haven't heard, Sixers forward Kelly Oubre got hit by a car in Philly Saturday. Fortunately, it's not serious, but it's enough to keep him out for a while. I think he's got some broken ribs. So we wish him definitely a speedy recovery, and we are thankful that it wasn't much worse than it could have been. And it was a hit and run too, which is the sad part about it.
And it was just around his neighborhood, like in the city.
Yeah, he was just going for, walking to the corner store or whatever it is. And and I've been on that, it was on Broad Street, and, I think the cross street was Hicks. Broad Street's a pretty busy street, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Philly, because it cuts right through Center City. And then you kind of have to go around this monument when you get into Center City, and then continue up north or south, whichever way you're going. So it's like a dividing line, right? Between like North Philly and then South Philly. But Broad Street goes north and south. And West Philly is a little bit ways. Like if you have to get on like 76, but I-76 I'm speaking, but because I spent some time in Philly, so I know it pretty well. I probably didn't describe it very well, but in my head I know where I'm going. I could see it and stuff like that. So so it's unfortunate, but Philly, man, 8-1, they're doing great. Philly's having a good time right now, right? Because the Phillies did well in baseball, and of course we know the Eagles have the best record in the NFL, and of course we'll get to the NFL a little bit later. Usually we start off a little bit, but I want to give O some love today, not just because he had a birthday weekend, but I just felt that I wanted to change things up, and let's kick off with the NBA. So we got Philly. That's probably the surprise, right? Early surprise.
Yeah.
Right. Who's another one?
So I wanted to say Dallas, but the reason why
you definitely can.
So
I would say Dallas, sure.
Only because there are two other teams I'm a little bit more surprised with.
Okay.
And to me, there's no surprise in the steady rising of Luka. So that's the reason why I'm maybe not going to say them. But you're right. They are definitely a surprise. You're talking about a team who didn't even make the playoffs last year. So they're at 8-2. But the bigger surprise is, to me, the Minnesota Timberwolves at 7-2.
Yes.
But not only that, they are the best defensive team in the NBA. And you kind of saw flashes of that in the playoffs against the Denver Nuggets in the first round. In my opinion, out of every team that the Nuggets played, they played Nikola Jokic the best. Rudy Gobert and Karl-Anthony Towns made it really tough on him. But the Denver Nuggets are just such a great team that they're really tough to beat. But now the Timberwolves are taking their game to the next level, and so is that man, Anthony Edwards.
Yes.
This is his team, and he's making that known. And Karl-Anthony Towns got out to a little bit of a slow start, but he's starting to pick it up. But the guy, and I know he's not going to get the praise because he's just always the unsung
I was just about to chime in, but you got it. You're on it.
People talk about that D'Lo and Mike Conley traded like it was trading like for an old guy, and D'Lo still the same. Mike Conley has made every team that he's ever been on better just by being a leader. He doesn't turn over the ball.
Nope.
He's a great playmaker. He just plays the right way. And like I just said, he is the ultimate leader. And he has been the unsung hero of this team.
He's a big reason why they're 7-2 right now. If you take Conley off that team and put whoever was at point guard last season in its wake, and listen, I don't want to slight anyone, but Conley is just a consummate point guard, right?
Yep.
He knows his role. If he can score, but he doesn't look to score, and he knows where everybody's supposed to be at on the floor. And like you said, he doesn't turn the ball over, and he's good defensively. He's not great, but he's good at, he's adequate. He's not going to be at the point where you need to take him out.
No. And I was about to say, for his age, in my opinion, he's still a really decent defender.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, like I said, you have two really good on-ball defenders in Jaden McDaniels, and Anthony Edwards is taking on those challenges of being an on-ball defender. So they've just been doing a really good job defensively, and they're winning games, and they keep playing like this. They're going to be a surprise team that if they make the playoffs, that you don't want to play in the first round, because any team that can defend like how they are, you're going to have a chance every night.
Yep.
And then the third team, they started off 0-3. They shot off 6 straight, and they have maybe finally started to take a turn, the Houston Rockets.
Oh, yes. yes. So it looks like Udoka is that guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
We had this conversation back then when Ime Udoka got fired, that maybe, Boston may have shot off a little too early of doing that. But we understood the circumstances.
Right.
Man, he has proven that he is a really good coach. He is my early coach of the year candidate just by what he's doing with this team. Fred VanVleet has taken on a bigger role offensively, leadership-wise.
Like the Conley pickup in Minnesota, I thought VanVleet going to Houston was definitely a major upgrade for them, for sure, because he's a veteran with all those young players. It's gonna benefit. Now, I didn't think it was gonna be this soon. Oh man, kudos to that. And plus, of course, Udoka. But man, that was a good pickup.
I'm with you a little bit, Pep. I don't know why. There was something. Maybe it wasn't the player of Fred VanVleet, because you're right. What he brings to a team, I guess, for what the money was, that I was a little skeptical about it. But you're right. If you're going to help me win games, all that goes out the window, and that seems to come an afterthought.
See, here's what you got to do when you look at what a person is being paid. You can't. You have to look at what he's being paid as to the value of the team he's on. He might, in your eyes, and a whole bunch of other people's eyes, he might be overpaid because why is he getting so much money? Blah blah blah. But for that particular team. And if it's the right fit, it doesn't matter the amount of money, because if it's a perfect fit, then that's what you need to do to get it, and it works. So you can't look at it that way. You got to look at it at the value that he brings to the team and how much that actually equals and what his play is. And so far, it's a bargain.
Yeah, I agree. Right now they're sitting at 6-3. They're 4th in the West. Minnesota is 3rd in the West. You're right. Just like you said, though, it's early, but they are off to really good, surprising starts.
All right. Now, who has garnered your ire, your disappointment?
I would say the Suns, but we already talked about them, so I'll give us 3 other teams.
Okay.
But the team we already mentioned, I mentioned them before, the LA Clippers. Disappointing is, and not even a word to use, because to me, they were playing all right basketball before they made this trade of James Harden. You've lost now, 4 in a row? I think.
Yep. And they play the Nuggets next. And the Nuggets coming off a loss ain't going to be happy.
And then your last loss that you just had was against the Memphis Grizzlies, who's the worst team in the Western Conference so far this year. So there's just no fluidity. And I'm hearing so many different answers of why everything's going wrong. Ty Lue saying James Harden needs to be more aggressive. I'm also hearing that, Kawhi and Paul George aren't getting now enough shots. And it just sounds like a lot of chaos. And I think we all said it. I mean, I don't understand, as a GM, how can you look at this roster when you're going to get James Harden and what you gave, how you thought this was going to fit? You're talking about.
You just nailed that.
Kawhi
Leonard. That's exactly what I was going to, pretty much say.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I don't think Paul George and Russell. I mean, not Paul George, but I don't think Russell Westbrook and James Harden can be on the floor at the same time. That can't happen. Number one, because now you're putting Russell Westbrook on an island or in a corner somewhere, and he needs the ball.
Right.
James Harden,
now, right? They're both starting together, aren't they?
Yes, they're both starting. I don't like that either, and I think that's a force too. But also now you're taking shots away from Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, who are both ISO players. So, like I said, I think those two complement each other very well. But now you add in somebody who's system, and that's how he's acting. Because clearly that system's not working. You having the ball in his hands and trying to make plays through him first, everybody second and third. I don't like it. And then on top of that, just like I think Paul George said yesterday, they traded away a lot of their glue pieces. They traded away Nicholas Batum, who was guarding their best player every night. Robert Covington was another 3-and-D guy. Those guys were really vital to what these guys did defensively.
Mm-hmm.
James Harden, not a defender. Russell Westbrook plays hard. Now, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are defenders, but, we're playing in an era now where you don't want to ask your star to do too much. So now you're asking them to play both sides of the ball again and guard your best player night in and night out. And I don't see this starting to gel for a long time. And maybe they'll prove me wrong, but this is something that this is going to take a while, or it's not going to happen at all. And I will not be surprised if they need to make a quick overnight blow up and move Russell Westbrook or James Harden again. Because I don't see it working. Pep, what do you see with those guys?
I see exactly the same thing you do. And here's what the Clippers missed out on. They missed out on 3 guys that would fit better than James Harden. They could have or probably should have brought in Mike Conley. I don't care what his age is right now, because I think he would be perfect on that team. Mm-hmm. As far as running the show, keeping everybody in happy, right, and effective and efficient. I think Drew Holiday would have been a good fit there because he's a good point guard. Maybe not as efficient as Conley, but his defense is outstanding, right? Yep. And then you you should have thought about, even though he would have cost a lot of money, you could have brought in Fred VanVleet. I thought he would have been a pretty decent fit there too. You mentioned the GM. I don't understand some of these GMs in all of these sports, right? In the NFL, in Major League Baseball, in the NBA, man, I'm baffled by some of these decisions that some of these guys make. It's like unbelievable. How could you not know that bringing James Harden into the fold would be disastrous? I mean, bro, you knew it. I knew it. And countless other people knew it. We're not the only ones, right? That follow and understand. How do these GMs not figure it out? Some of these guys, and I mentioned this before, some of these guys I think are too arrogant for their own good. They feel that they're the ones that could make change, that could bring in somebody and make it work, right? They're they could be the pottery maker, sit there and mold and make it into the shape that they want, and it doesn't work that way, right? Especially for a veteran like Harden, a guy that's already been in the league umpteen years. He's setting his ways, setting his play, and he already told you, I am the system. Yeah. Man, what are you doing? And you're going to bring him in. And every team he's been on has been a terrible divorce. He couldn't wait to get out of Oklahoma. Couldn't wait to get out of Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. Right? Definitely couldn't wait to get out of Philly. Mm-hmm. Right? And so now he's in La La Land, where he was, where he's from. But going home does not mean it's going to be smooth. Sometimes going home is the worst thing that can happen. Yep. Right. So I don't know, man. It's unbelievable. Who else? Go ahead. You just said something that you would think it goes over people's head, but it's just so simple. Some of these gyms, you're right. This is your job and you're paid to do this. But us average Joes can get on this radio show and can see that there was no way in heck that roster was going to work like this. Yeah. There's no way. Good. No, there's just no way that when you are putting this trade together, you look at your roster and adding James Harden and losing what you lost with the other guys that you already have there and said, this is going to work now, even though we already have a team that, when healthy, is probably one of the better rosters already in the NBA. Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and trade 3 or 4 of them, though, for this star player who has gone to 4 different teams and said he doesn't want to be there. And he's already proven in a lot of situations when the lights are bright that he is folded. It doesn't make sense to me. I know, it's crazy. People say, "Oh, you're just an armchair quarterback, whatever, GM." I'm like, well, you know what? I guess I am then, because you know what? I've been watching the NBA since the late 60s. So I've been watching it long enough to know. I should know something, right? Now, does that qualify me to be a GM? Of course not. You know, I get that, but I could probably make some decisions better than some of these GMs that are doing now and you know, lately. It's crazy to me that some of these moves that they make, that it's just like, what are you thinking? You know, and that includes the NFL and even baseball, right? You know, some of these guys, it's like, man, oh man, it's just unbelievable. Anybody else you're disappointed in?
Yeah, and this is a slight disappointment. But they're playing worse now than they were at the beginning of the season, which is why I put them in there. The Golden State Warriors started off really good. Now they're 6-5. The disappointment with me, though, is, did you know, Pep? Steph Curry is the only player on this team to have scored over 20 points.
I did not know that, but I did notice something.
I've
noticed a big fall off from the play of Klay Thompson.
Yep.
I mean, if you want to go by what's going on, he is not a top flight player right now. He's just not. And the last two games this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, I happened to be on the road and actually listen. You know, I got, you know, satellite radio, so you can tune into these, you know, NBA broadcasts. And so I was actually listening to the Cavs and the Warriors game Saturday, and it's like, you know, the Cavs were up by 10 a few times. I'm like, oh wow, you know, Warriors are having trouble on the road. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, they're in they're in San Francisco. And then the next day, the Timberwolves come to town and put the hurt on them.
Yep.
So, you know, that's 2 straight losses at home over the weekend. You know, if we had a team that did that up here, man, we'd be screaming and hollering all weekend. You know, fire this guy, fire that guy.
So remember,
it's crazy.
Last year their woes was on the road. This year their woes is at home. They're 1-3 to start at home. But the was even more alarming that they're not playing well is Andrew Wiggins. He has just been an afterthought and has not given anything offensively. And they have not been able to put together good offensive games. But he has been the one that's been more troubling than Klay Thompson, in my opinion, because, you know, I feel like the Warriors have kind of groomed Andrew Wiggins to be like that second guy over his last 2 years.
Right.
And he has not been able to take those reins.
He's been a worse version of Harrison Barnes.
Yeah.
Because you remember when Barnes was with the Warriors, he was so up and down. It was like they were going crazy. Like, man, come on, who are you?
And I start to feel like, Pep, I don't think Steph Curry was too big about the Jordan Poole trade. As much as he possibly was the biggest reason for chemistry, I really think that Steph Curry felt like he could have took him under his wing and fixed this. It seemed like he really there was a liking for Jordan Poole when it came to Steph Curry. So that's something that I kind of want to keep my eye on moving forward. And I know it'll never come out and say, but I know he did a tribute video for him and everything when he got traded. It seemed like he really liked that kid. And then the last one for me, it's a toss-up because you can go the Milwaukee Bucks, you can go the New York Knicks, but I'm going to give both of those guys some excuses. Milwaukee's trying to figure it out. Just got Dame right before training camp.
Right.
And then with the New York Knicks, the reason why I'm putting them on there is because I now see they have pieces. I just don't know if Julius Randle can fit there. And it shows in the record at 5-5. Jalen Brunson has been up and down. But I think that they're better than 5-5, in my opinion. I saw them play pretty solid to start the season. So I'm going to put them in there as well.
Cool. All right. So when we come back, we're going to thanks for the NBA report there. Oh, great job as usual. But when we come back, we're going to get into some football, college football, and the NFL. So don't go away. We will be right back.
I'm Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not deep frying a turducken in a closed garage, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Wash your hands, don't touch your face, wipe things down, clean up your space. When you cough and sneeze, do responsibly. If you feel you're getting ill, isolate at home and chill. No, you're not alone. Please pick up your phone and call 206-477-3977. King County 206-477-3977. Public Health 206-477-3977. King County 206-477-3977. Public Health Community Radio Station will provide you with more information. Say Rainier Avenue Radio. Your community radio station will provide you with more information. Rainier Avenue Radio.
Greetings. This is your host, DJ Neftali, Rainier Avenue Radio World, the best DJ in the Seattle area. You can catch me every Monday at 8 p.m. on YouTube. Like I said, this is DJ Neftali, the best reggae in Seattle, Washington, the best radio station, Rainier Avenue Radio World. Come on, right?
Generational wealth. Generational wealth. Generational wealth. What is generational wealth? We asked our communities.
And this is what they had to say.
Generational wealth is incredibly difficult to accrue. My mom likes to joke that we come from a long line of people who are bad at money. She always talks about wanting to buy a house so that she has something to leave her kids. I got really sick when I was a kid, and all our money went towards that. I had to leave college because I couldn't afford my next year's tuition, medical bills, and life. It's all so difficult. And then you think about wanting to leave something behind for your kids. Well, how can you leave something behind for your kids when every day you're trying to make sure that your kids have joy and happiness and health and fulfillment today? Every day I'm really concerned about if I'll be able to keep living and making art in this city for myself.
This campaign to create awareness to generational wealth is brought to you by the Department of Neighborhoods Generational Wealth Initiative, the Washington Housing Finance Commission, and Rainier Avenue Radio World.
You're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio World. Check us out on social media. Facebook and Instagram, Rainier Avenue Radio World, and on Twitter at Rainier Av Radio.
Welcome back to LidLine Sports right here on Rainier Avenue Radio World. On Saturday at 2 p.m., Rainier Avenue World will be broadcasting a high school playoff doubleheader. That's right. A doubleheader on Saturday starting at 2 p.m. with Garfield and O'Day. Oh, man, that should be another doozy. And the second game has Kennewick and Eastside Catholic, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Kennewick and Eastside Catholic right after the game, the first game at 2 p.m. So that's 2 p.m. Saturday right here on Rainier Avenue Radio World. I go get out some shout outs real quick. Of course, I got Mr. Michael A. Carter giving us some love. Of course, Rhonda Dorsey, as usual, Bill Walker Jr. And, and of course, I want to give a special shout out to Tracy Harrell, who gave us some love going into the show today. So I want to thank her for that. Real quick, as we exit basketball and go into football, have you seen UW basketball play as of yet?
I saw the first game.
Mm-hmm.
That was against Bellarmine, I believe.
Okay.
They looked pretty solid. I didn't get to see, was that yesterday they took their first loss?
Yep.
I didn't see that one, but I did hear some things. I heard finally Mike Hoppings is not playing the zone that much. That was surprising. But I know Nevada's not that good this year, so that's
troubling.
Yeah, already.
And once again, from what I can tell, they're having trouble scoring. They've got two guys. They got two guys, Brooks and Wheeler. That's probably going to be, double figures, most of the time. And the problem is when you only have two guys that you can count on, you can't rely on two guys to be on every game. right? So if you have two guys that are your main guys, somebody's going to be off sometime, right? And when that happens, either somebody has to step up, or you're going to be getting blown out.
So I am confused because Corin Johnson, the Seattle native, he started in game 1, and I think the transfer from Arkansas did not play that game.
Wheeler?
Yes, Wheeler.
Mm-hmm.
But Corin started, and he had 25, and then went straight to the bench the next 2 games, and it just looks like the opportunities have not been there. So I don't know exactly what that's about, but I know Corin was one of their more consistent players last year. And like I said, I'm not only saying this because I'm going for all my Seattle guys, but if somebody was consistent for you all last year, I don't see why he's not starting. I'm not saying Wheeler. It should be over Wheeler. I don't know who the other guys in the backcourt. But like I said, I know Corin was a pretty solid piece of what they did offensively. Mm-hmm. So he only got 4 shots in their loss yesterday. So I'm interested to see
that
what's
is puzzling.
Huh?
But you know what? That's puzzling. But to me, it's almost typical Hopkins. You know, his indecisiveness and his stubbornness or whatever. You know, I don't know. So, but look, to me, I'm going to be honest. To me, the more they lose, the quicker he's gone, right? Because we're tired of him anyway. To be honest, most of us are. We're same old. You know, and it's been 7 years now, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Has it really been that long already,
bruh? Yes,
man, that is crazy.
So, and then we got the new AD, so he has no allegiance to him whatsoever. So if he can, and of course he can read, right? So he can just look back and read what's been happening in the past, and then he can see what's going on right now, and he can say, you know what, I'm done with this. We're not having this while I'm here now. Okay.
And you also said it too. I mean, they're going on a bigger stage next year. This is not how you want to come in and represent UW in the Big Ten.
Heck no.
Bringing this type of basketball, you're going to get blown out every other game, and you're going to be the laughingstocks with the Northwesterns and all those other smaller teams in the Big Ten. You don't want to be that.
And as much as I love the Pac-12 and all that stuff, but going to the Big Ten is actually going to might be better for them as far as exposure is concerned, because they're going to be playing back east a lot more.
Yep.
Right? Because they'll be back in Michigan, and they'll be playing Rutgers. You know, that's New York right there, right? So if you want some ballers and to come look at you and to come look at Washington to go to, that's a good opportunity. Because now they can't say, well, my family can't see me, because those Eastern families will be able to see you because you'll be coming home to play. You know.
Question. So would that play towards Mike Hopkins possibly coming back, since he has those?
No.
Okay.
Hopkins can go to Syracuse, wherever, somewhere. He can just go back there where he was, because we're done with him.
I don't want him back.
No, I don't either. And so I'm not going to be mad, and I hate to say it like this, but I'm not going to be mad if UW basketball is trash, because that means he's gone.
Yeah,
and that's fine with me. Because if they become, all of a sudden they don't lose another game, well, okay, I don't know, because see, I wouldn't let's put it this way: even if they were successful this year, I wouldn't trust that would continue going forward. And the worst thing that could happen is we have a good season this year, and they give them a 3 or 4 year extension, and we go back to the same old crap.
Yeah, it would take
the Big Ten.
It would definitely take an NCAA tournament berth for him to come back next year, but that's not going to happen. So you don't have to worry about that.
Okay. Good news. All right. All right. So let's get on to some football real quick. The UW Utah game. Utah came in here first half and was giving UW the business.
Yep.
Because look, here's what when I was watching the game, I'm comparing UW and Oregon, right? Because Oregon has been lights out since they lost to UW.
Yep.
UW has been shaky but still winning. And if they were to play again today, I hate to say it, but I think Oregon would win, and probably by double digits.
Ooh,
yeah.
Okay.
You know, and that could be 10, right?
Mhm.
I'm not saying 30 or 20.
You're saying it would be a convincing win, though.
But I'm saying, 34-24, something like that, right? So, but we got to play on, and the fact that we're still beating good teams. They beat Utah because, second in the first half, Utah gave us the business, was up by 4 at the half, 28-24. They got shut out in the second half because everybody was complaining about UW's defense. So UW's like, oh, okay. We survived a ridiculous play. And you know which one I'm talking about. The one where when my man got the interception, right? And then Tapatala went down and thought he scored. We thought he scored but then again, when we looked at it, we're like, wait a minute, did he drop the ball early? He dropped the ball early, no way. And then they replayed it and like, sure, man, it wasn't even close. He dropped the ball at the 1 yard line. It might have been 2.
That's the sharpness that's literally been missing from them over these last 3-4 weeks. Is exactly that play, and just not playing with the sense and the urgency and the sharpness that they were playing in the first 3 weeks. Exactly that.
Yeah. I mean, it's puzzling. I mean, because they struggled against Arizona and Arizona State, right? Struggled against Stanford, who got nuked Saturday against Oregon State.
Yep.
Who Washington plays next. Now, listen, all that other crap that Washington's been doing, even against Utah first half, bro, they got to stop that Saturday. They cannot start off that game slow.
Agreed.
Stretch. Because if they start off slow in Corvallis, you might as well just chalk it up as one loss, because they're not coming back from that.
Agreed.
That second half ain't going to be kind to them. Oregon State will not do that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And Oregon State is another top 25 team who is playing really well on both sides of the ball. Probably
They might be top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're actually right. They're 12.
Yeah. So that, hey, to me, what's the difference between 10 and 12, right? Not much.
They're 10 now. So you're right. They are 10 now.
Okay. Yeah. So they're waiting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, come on down here.
Mm-hmm.
Get some of this beef action. Yeah, So man. But so I'm hoping UW, it's disappointing that McMillan hasn't been able to come back, at full strength. But I don't know what his status is. Do you know? Because we definitely could use him.
I don't know.
Going into Oregon State.
Mm.
But regardless, Dylan Johnson has been great the last 2 games, 256 yards a week before, and then 100 and something this week. So, or close to it anyway. And of course, Odunze has been lights out. He only had three or four catches, but he had like over 100 yards. So that's, 40 yards a catch almost. So that's pretty awesome. So what do you think, bro? What do you think Saturday? Do you think UW's going to be able to make it 12-0 or 11-0?
I'm nervous, Pep, because I think you hit one thing that, I understand Oregon came here, didn't they?
Oregon here, yes.
So that's the problem, is now they're finally on a road in a hostile environment, playing a good team. Those lapses that you have that you can possibly get away with at home, you're not getting away with on the road, like you said. Those lapses, and you let Oregon State get up double digits, 10 points, it's going to be hard to get back in the game.
Yeah.
I agree. So my heart's saying that I said this last week, and I said this week before, that this maybe be the game that they get back to playing football at a high level. But you're right. If they're playing the way they
Oregon
play,
State has probably the best running back in the Pac-12 in Martinez. So, we thought SC ran through us. Well, if you don't tackle this guy, we got like Dylan Johnson got 256 on USC. Well, Martinez can get 300 on us if we don't pay attention. And I'm not exaggerating. That guy is something else.
And for anybody who was satisfied with that UW win over USC, go back and look at USC's schedule. Everybody's been able to put up points on them.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
you shouldn't even be that satisfied.
That's why Grinch they had enough.
Yeah.
You know, UW was the last straw. He said, man, you got to go.
Yeah.
Right. So, and then, you know, Oregon actually didn't score as much as I thought they would against SC.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be a barn burner too.
Bro, I thought they would hang 60 at least.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because UW got 52. I figured, well, Oregon probably gets 60 something.
Yeah.
You know, so, but they didn't. So kudos for that. So, but yeah, so it's going to be nervous time in Corvallis, you know. So if UW can escape and win that, and then of course they got Washington State, you know, you can never overlook the Apple Cup, but let's be honest, if they get through Corvallis, we're looking at 12-0.
I agree.
And then of course we know that Ohio State and Michigan play each other. So somebody's going to get knocked out of the top 4.
Mm-hmm.
So all UW has to do is keep winning. You know, don't look at the scoreboard. Don't overlook anybody. You know, just keep winning. And you win these next 2 games, you're going to be in the top 4.
There's a team that scares me, Pep, and only because they just have such a liking on the rankings board. But
Alabama.
I just would hope that 12-0 would out-trump Alabama going, 11-1 and winning the SEC championship?
Right.
Does SEC now get 2 teams?
Yeah.
That's what kind of makes me nervous.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I totally agree with that, you know, because people were in love with Alabama to start, you know, and then they had that loss against Texas. And then, of course, you know, at the beginning of the year, if you remember, they were having a little quarterback controversy because, you know, they Milroe and then the other gentleman. And so now they've gone back to Milroe, you know, since probably the second or third game, and they haven't looked back. He's been brilliant.
Yep.
So they made the right decision as far as who they picked to be their quarterback going forward. So they are going to be tough, but Washington can't worry about that. They have to win. They have to keep winning. Wait for Michigan and Ohio State to knock each other off, and then step right in.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So that's the way I see it anyway. All right, so let's get into some NFL real quick.
We had a game today, don't we?
Huh? Yeah, the Broncos. Yeah, hey, the Broncos are playing the Bills. The Bills have been frauds, and right now it's 15. They're tied at 15, but Russ has been much better this season.
Yeah, he has.
Much, much better. You can't blame Russ for the issues that they've been having. They had issues on defense earlier in the season. They've rectified that pretty much, you know. So
my thing is
been respectable.
I can't make a pick to save my life on a team that I think can, you know, go to the Super Bowl. I think I came in here before the season and I said that this was going to be the Buffalo Bills year.
Yeah.
And Josh Allen has proved me wrong week after week. He has a crazy streak of throwing an interception consecutively. How many?
6 straight games. And we complained about Geno's 4. He's got 6 straight games of a pick. And he got multiple picks tonight.
Yeah, he has 2 today. I'm done with that guy. And maybe Stephon Diggs and, you know, the frustration he's had early on this season, maybe it was rightfully so, because this guy, man, has been a stinker.
I think this is his last year in Buffalo. I think because I said at the beginning of the year, Buffalo's window of opportunity is closing fast.
Agreed.
And they have to, and I mean they have to win the AFC this year. They got to supplant Kansas City and whoever else, but it doesn't look like they're going to do it. And it's a shame. And that's why right now I'm telling you, as it stands right now, Buffalo looks to be on the outside looking in. They're not going to overtake anybody in the AFC as far as going far in the playoffs. They'll probably make the playoffs, but they're not going to win. I don't even know if they're going to win a playoff game. And they're desperate to be in the Super Bowl this year. They're not going to make it.
They're not.
And I think Josh Allen is gone after this year. I think there's going to be a blockbuster trade. I don't know what his contract status is as far as how many years he has left. But yeah, I think a blockbuster trade will be done, and I think if they don't get it together after this game, they're done. So, having said that, I want to play a game with you.
Okay.
I'm going to go through these teams real quick, and I want you to tell me whether you are surprised or not surprised. Panthers 1-8.
Not surprised.
Bears 3-7.
Not surprised.
Colts 5-5.
Surprised.
Patriots 2-8.
Sadly, I'm not surprised. I'm not.
Browns 6-3 and just beat the Ravens.
Not surprised.
Ravens 7-3.
Not surprised.
Packers 3-6.
Surprised a little bit.
Okay.
Maybe a little worse.
Are you surprised because you thought they would be better or maybe a little worse?
A little worse.
Oh, okay.
And I know I guess maybe, it's different in the NBA than it is in the NFL, but, trading your star player and, kind of basically, I guess for them, they weren't hitting a reset because they already had a quarterback in their back pocket.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, Jordan Love is, what would you say? He's a decent quarterback at best.
He's okay.
Okay.
Let's put it that way. Yeah.
So
I wouldn't hit the panic button and I wouldn't jettison him. It's not like Zach Wilson, because if the Jets got Jordan Love, I think they'd be quite happy.
Exactly.
So yeah. Steelers 6-3.
Surprised.
I'm shocked.
As much as I like Kenny Pickett back at Pitt, I know that he was having some struggles.
Well, here's the surprise. Oh, they're 6-3, and they're probably the worst 6-3 team I've ever seen.
Yeah. Haven't they lost in yards per game? And
every game.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Destroyed in yardage.
Yeah,
and they keep winning.
Yeah,
and Kenny Pickett has been mediocre at best.
Yes,
he's not even a top 20 quarterback.
Yeah.
And they're 6-3. Go figure.
So that's why I'm very surprised.
We know the Niners are no surprise.
Yeah.
So I don't need to mention that. Jaguars. The Jags are 6-3.
I'm not surprised. You go and get a franchise quarterback and you let him develop. You also put weapons around him. This is what happens with that. You got ATN and other guys, brought in Calvin Ridley and other players. You got your star player weapons. So nice. I'm not surprised.
Now, let me give you a caveat. Are you surprised at what happened yesterday to them?
What happened to them yesterday?
They lost 34-3 to San Fran at
home. Yeah. Because we're also talking about that San Francisco 49ers team who hasn't been playing elite football over these last few weeks. So to get blown out on your home field.
That's what's surprising. I wasn't surprised that they lost because I figured I didn't think San Fran was going to lose 4 in a row. I didn't see that happening.
Exactly.
Of course, we didn't see 3 in a row, but okay, well, it happened. But 4, no. So, yeah, no surprise there. But how it happened, when I looked at the score, because I didn't get a chance to watch Red Zone at all yesterday. But, 34-3 was like, wow, what happened?
Agree.
All right. Saints, they are 3-5.
I'm not surprised. They weren't that really good last year, and then you brought in what's his name?
Derek Carr.
Yeah, Derek Carr. I don't really care for him as a quarterback.
I can see that.
It's just not enough to go over there offensively. So no, it's not surprising.
I'm surprised. I didn't expect. Oh, I'm sorry. They're 5-5. I said 3-5. My bad. 5-5. So they're about where I expected. So
okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. Vikings 6-4.
Surprised.
Ditto.
Yeah. We understand that they have arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL and Justin Jefferson. But you were talking about a team that was not a good defensive team last year. They're finding ways to get wins this year. I'm definitely surprised that they are 6-4.
All right, Texans and Bengals, both 5-4.
Surprise both ways.
Yes. Yes.
You're talking about a Texans team that's been the laughing stock in the NFL, and they got it right. I mean, they were going to take one of the two quarterbacks at number 2, but there was a lot of whispers that who's the quarterback in the Texans?
CJ Stroud.
Yeah, CJ Stroud.
He's in the run for MVP.
Yeah, I was about to say there was whispers that maybe he was going to be the better long-term choice between him and quarterback over at the Panthers. I can't think.
Go right into their lap.
Yeah,
being number 2, man, it's a good position to have.
Definitely,
especially when the number 1 and number 2, as far as talent's concerned, people can't decide. So if you're at number 2, you say, okay, I'll just pick whoever.
Yeah.
It happened with the Sonics when they could have had either Greg Oden or Durant. So that's the way it goes. All right, I'll give you one more. Seahawks, 6-3.
There it is. Damn, that's a tough one. I guess I'm not surprised. They're about right where I would have expected them to be, somewhere hovering around 500, close to 500. 2 games over 500. I'm okay with where they're 3 games over 500. I'm okay with where they're at. Gino turned it up last Sunday, helped us propel us to a win. We're now tied with the San Francisco 49ers for the AFC West. Just be even keeled when the games are supposed to and compete in the games, especially they have a really tough schedule coming up after they play the Rams this weekend. They go and play the 49ers at home, the Cowboys on the road, the 49ers again, and then the Eagles.
Okay, so those 5 games, what's their record? Not their overall record, but I mean their record in those 5 games.
6-3, 7-3 after beating the Rams. I'm gonna say 8-3. Playing the 49ers at home. They get that win.
Okay, so that's 2.
Turn around.
Play at Cowboys.
I think they'll lose that, possibly.
Okay.
I don't think they'll win in San Francisco.
Okay.
On the road. I'm gonna say that we'll possibly lose 3 in a row and lose to the Eagles. So what does that get us at?
So you're talking the next 5, 2-3. Yeah,
possibly.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with that but I don't know. I can't say I agree with the order. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure yet.
Do we both agree that they win this Sunday?
Well, I see. Here's the thing. I'm saying 2 at the most because they because they have trouble. Because they 2-3 at the most is the best I think they're going to do.
Okay.
So it wouldn't surprise me, and to be honest, I expect maybe 1 win, and I don't even know where that one's coming. To be honest, I look. I was like, man, I don't know, but I'm just gonna guess that it comes against Philly because I think Philly is vulnerable.
Okay.
Sometimes, and I think with all those losses piling up, I think the Seahawks will probably get it together for that particular game.
Okay.
So I hope I'm wrong. Look, I hope they do better than that, but to me, 2-3 is best case scenario in that tougher stretch.
They need to win in LA. They have
to
do. Start this off.
They certainly do, and they should. But I don't trust them.
I'm not mad at you.
Especially against the Rams. I mean, they can't beat them up here, so why would I expect them to go down there and put it to them? Right?
I hear you.
Logically. I'm saying, look, this is the NFL. It's week to week. We know it can happen, right? I mean, look at the Ravens. They smoked us 37-3, in Baltimore, and then Cleveland goes into Baltimore and puts it on them, right? Yep. So, man, it's crazy. But anyway, hey, man, great job as usual. Everybody.
Already?
Yes, man, we're done.
Sheesh.
Yeah, it happens so fast, man. I know it's like Speed Racer up here. But I want to thank you for your great stuff on the NBA today. I want to thank everybody for listening. Bill Walker Jr., Michael Carter, Rhonda Dorsey, Doreen, everybody, all the regulars, and of course, my man, Daniel, the producer extraordinaire. Thank you on behalf of everybody. Yeah, on behalf of them. See you guys next week. Holla.